yourself.
Hello everyone, you're watching Owen's Gaming Channel 67. Welcome to another ranking video. Today we're going to be doing another Thomas and Friends ranked. We're going to be doing season 8 of our ranking. First up, Thomas and the Tuba. It's one I don't care for. Yes, this is my favorite new model series of seasons 8 through 12. I just don't like this episode this much because Thomas just goes off with the band thing, bandman without the tuba player until Thomas just runs off and tries to find the tuba player, but is nowhere to be found until he bumps into Percy, and then Thomas just listened to Harvey's advice while looking and listening. Like that is just insane. Like seriously, I don't know why they would put that there. Percy's new whistle. It's okay. It's just okay. Because of that, for some people that like this episode, that's completely fine. But what I can't say for is that Percy's just playing with his new whistle by blowing it loud. He blows his new whistle loudly, making Thomas bump into his freight cars and Bertie skating off the road. That is just so ridiculous. There's just a lot of snow in the way. It's just one that it's learning to be fine. At least he saved Thomas in the end from a snow slide. Thomas to the rescue is a favorite of mine. Let me say this. It's because that I love this episode. Yes, I haven't been posting videos for a while because I was busy with other stuff and going on spring break vacation. But let me say this. I love Thomas to the Rescue. It's a personal favorite of mine because it has a lot of these great settings at the quarry. The favorite funny moment of mine is when Diesel just they had all the diesels had bad fuel that Salty brought to from the mainland. If I don't get it on what I say, but whatever goes. Henry and the Wishing Tree is another one that I don't care for. It's kind of boring, to be honest, if I know this, but this episode is boring. Henry just wishes he wants to pull coaches because he's getting tired of pulling freight cars. Like in the beginning, he had logs on his flatbed. Like, what does that have to supposed to do with this? Put it somewhere that it's not good? I don't know. And by the way, there was no such thing as a wishing tree. That was only on Sir Topham Hatt's job, which Gordon had a few repairs. And yes, Henry is back to pulling freight, at least. James gets a new coat is okay. It's better than Percy's new whistle. James is just the show off for showing off his smart red paint work after he got a repaint at the fitter's yard. Like that's just crazy and ridiculous. But I just don't know about that. It's boring in the beginning, but yeah, the rest of the parts when James goes to random docks is so hilarious. Thomas saves the day. It's actually a favorite of mine, but it's not as good as Thomas to the Rescue. What I get emotional over this that Thomas misses Annie and Clarabelle. So he ends up getting some new coaches to take the workmen there and back home again. But at least he saved the new station when the runaway cars were uncoupled from Edward. That's what narrations from the UK and the US say. Michael Brandon and Michael Angelis. But yeah, this is just an intense one. Percy's Big Mistake is a great episode. It's a great episode. I just really like to see Percy. So he's like in a rush oftenly, but it's just ridiculous. It's insanitary, it's in sizes. This is just a great episode. Percy's just worried he might get scrapped. But one of my favorite parts is that Sir Topham Hatt says, delivering the mail for a week, taking scrap to the scrapyard. It's just, those are just one of my favorites. Thomas, Emily, and the Snowplow is bad. It's a bad episode. Thomas is being such a jerk to Emily, only when she's telling him to get his snowplow from the fitter's yard. But he didn't realize it was snow. There was a snowstorm on the way, so no need to worry about that. And in the end, Thomas learned his lesson by listening to Emily. But still, they were jerks in the beginning and in the middle. This is very bad, and I can't say it. It's actually the worst episode ever. The actual worst. Don't Tell Thomas is a great episode. It's really good. But it's just not a good example over having to see the other engines not tell Thomas it was a surprise party for him after clearing up the tracks from snow. Like, Thomas is actually super helpful. So why doesn't the others need to tell Thomas about have the surprise? But I still prefer it's great. And in the end, his surprise was to take the children. And yes, there were decorations too. Emily's new route is honestly, I don't care that much. Emily's new route is quite boring. It's not as bad like the other two, Henry and the Wishing Tree and Thomas and the Tuba. It's not the worst. It's my favorite. It's my favorite I don't care episode for that, but I don't think it is. If you think it is, just if you think, I just don't want to understand that. It's just not this. It's not this good or bad, whatever it is. But still, it's preferring to being bad. Thomas and the fireworks display is another bad episode. Like, James is just a show off for thinking that Sir Topham Hatt thinks that he is red as a rocket. Why does he need to be as red as a rocket? He's red. Even Thomas teases him, calling him a bossy boiler after James broke down by the signal. But at least they learned to be friends to help each other out. And then there's the fireworks display. That's my favorite ending of this one. But not but it's still bad. Gordon Takes Charge is another great episode. Gordon in Charge is a great episode. Giving me an example on how this is a great episode. Gordon is just a show off because he's teaching Percy how to pull coaches for when there's passengers on board. Percy just fails the instructions for Gordon. Like, I mean, it's not that bad, but whatever. Spick and Span. It's my favorite season 8 episode of the entire franchise. I can't help it because there are so many great moments in this one. Like, what the heck? These episodes are a masterpiece sometimes. Edward the Great is another great episode. It's my favorite great episode because I love how there, there's a race going on for Edward and Spencer just because he pulls the Duke and Duchess to their summer house. First, they stop at the refreshment lady's tea shop. to buy some to buy a drink for something or something. Next, the the Duke wanted to stop for pictures. While Edward was carrying a heavy furniture, he had to go slow and steady to not let the furniture break. But at least he won in the end when Spencer didn't notice because he was still dreaming of victory. Like, it's great. Squeak, Rattle, and Roll is another one I can't say that I care for this much. Well, actually, it's going to be there. Squeak, Rattle, and Roll is not a very good episode. But there's one good moment that I like is when Gordon pulls the express and telling Diesel to get out of his way. Like, this episode is kind of boring. To many of you guys that like this episode, that's fine. I'm a nice person and I'm always willing to think on their opinions. Thomas in the Circus is another one that's okay. It's just that Thomas just doesn't need any help for some reason. All because that he's pulling the circus. All because he just wants the fun of his own, like to see the circus play. And then the circus blows up. Thanks to the help of James and Percy, Thomas, well, in the middle, Thomas's traction rods were broken from pulling the heavy circus train. But at least he got a new traction rod and he asked his friends for help, which were James and Percy, and they were happy to. That's this is an okay one. Thomas Gets It Right is another bad episode. It's just that it's not it's just boring. Thomas Gets It Right is another bad episode. Because of that, Thomas just goes careless because he goes too fast over when the eggs have broken. Just to prove that he's determined to make it to the boat on time. But a lot of you guys think that this is a great episode. Well, that's fine though. I consider this one bad, but you guys don't have to disagree though. But yeah, as good as Gordon, yet it's another one that I don't care for. Emily just wants to be as good as Gordon, like to be impatient to get through. And then when Emily runs out of coal, she has learned her lesson by being patient. But that's what sometimes doesn't go as planned as I thought. Fish. There's another episode called Fish in season 4 in the classic series. But I let's put it there. Fish is a great episode. It's because well, Arthur is seen on Fish, which is my favorite character, by the way. Well, he's not my personal favorite, but yeah, it's it's pretty good. Thomas just wants to get his job done fast, even though he does not like fish for some reason. That's what I consider this one to be okay. It's a great episode. Thomas learns to take care, and he pulls 5 cars at a time until he got all of them to the docks on time. Emily's adventure is another great one. It's personally that Emily was just being impatient because he had to take some materials to Farmer McCall's barn because after a big storm blew, Farmer McCall's shed just Farmer McCall's barn just had a roof blown off by the storm that just happened personally. But at least she learns how to say thank you in the end by saying please and thank you. If if a lot of you guys say that it's a great episode, then that's totally fine. It's just totally fine. Halloween. This is like this is an episode everybody just loves the most. But I still think it's great. Halloween is when it's kind of like the children putting on costumes and sometimes the others are busy at work. And one of my favorite moments is Sir Topham Hatt being in his pajamas. Like I just can't help it. So Halloween is when is that Emily and Thomas and Emily go to the smelter's yard to to pick up the iron from the smelters. Thomas and Emily weren't so brave because they knew that Ari and Bert were playing tricks to scare the engines. You can do it, Toby. This is kind of like a lot of people saying that it's a bad episode, but this is an okay one. You can do it, Toby, is that Toby is just worried that he wouldn't be able to push Gordon up the hill, even though he's a slow steam tram. Not gonna lie, if you guys actually love Toby, then that is completely fine. I'm glad that you have underestimated what's coming next. It's just, it's not the worst, at least. But hey, it's better than nothing, I can say. But whatever. Chickens to School is another one that I don't care for. Thomas just had a busy job when he takes the pigs to the market, children to school, and chickens to the barn. But instead he mixes everything up by taking the pigs to by taking the pigs to well, if I completely messed that up. Okay, let me say this one. So Thomas just had no idea where he's taking these items to because he's lost his mind on which he's taking. Like this is a long example, but chickens to school. Well, Thomas just has a busy job by taking the pigs to the market, chil- chickens to the farm, and children to school. But instead, they were Thomas mixes all them all up, or chickens to the market. I don't know. I don't know. But I consider this one okay. But I'm gonna have a quick example on what I mean when we come to this one later. Too Hot for Thomas is a, it's another favorite of mine. So Thomas is just wanting to take some children, but instead he has to get the ice cream ready. The ice cream for the first he goes to the chocolate. He's just in a rush. He gets the First he gets the strawberries from Farmer McCall. He's just straight up impatient just because that he just wants to take some children. It's not just it's not the worst in the entire franchise, but we'll get to that in just a few moments. What I known about this episode is that it's one of my personal favorites. I love Michael Angelis in this one. Yes, I personally think Brandon is better, but that's just what I've seen lately. Oh yeah, from Chickens to School, Thomas was supposed to deliver sheep, the chickens, and the children. to take them to the places. But instead, he takes them all into the wrong places. First, the sheep were in the markets, the children on a trip to the farm, and chickens were at school. Thomas was looking for a good long rest until he gets cross until Sir Topham had his cross that Thomas has taken all of the wrong. He's taking these until he's taken his visitors to the wrong places. But at least he's gotten some help by Edward and Percy. At least he learned in the end. Oh yeah, too hot for Thomas was I. I'm not considering James Goes Too Far a bad episode, but I want to say this. But Too Hot for Thomas used to be my favorite episode. One of my favorite moments is that Thomas just the chocolate the cocoa powder just explodes, flying everywhere. This is one of my favorite Michelangelo's moments. Whatever. James Goes Too Far is another it's another okay one. But where am I gonna put this? Let's just put it there. James Goes Too Far is another okay episode. James just thinks that his job is the most important out of everyone. Like, I can't disagree. We've had a lot of confusion going on from chickens to school until he runs out of water. Until he learns his lesson by helping Diesel in the end. The last episode is Percy and the Magic Carpet. This is another okay episode. So, Percy and the Magic Carpet. I don't want to be I don't want to get you guys upset, but Percy and the Magic Carpet is okay. If you guys just like this episode, there's no personal reason for you to not like that. This is just a personal good information. Percy just thinks there is such thing as a magic carpet. That's Salty had just told him. Once it was delivered to a flower show where Alicia Botti was supposed to cut the ribbon to get it open. The other engines just didn't listen and didn't even think it really was a magic carpet. Well, Gordon thinks in the end, but that's just confusing on what is going to be called. Alright, everyone, that is all the season 8 episodes ranked from worst to best. Let's just go them all one by one. We have Thomas, Emily in the snowplow, Thomas in the fireworks display, Thomas gets it right, Thomas in the tuba, Henry in the wishing tree, Squeak, rattle, and roll, As Good as Gordon, Chickens to School, Emily's new route, Percy in the magic carpet, Percy's new whistle, James gets a new coat, Thomas in the circus, James goes too far, You Can Do It, Toby, Emily's adventure, Percy's big mistake, Don't Tell Thomas, Fish, Halloween, Gordon Takes Charge, Ed- Edward the Great, Thomas Saves the Day, Thomas to the Rescue, Too Hot for Thomas, and number one, my personal favorite of mine, Spick and Span. Alright, everyone, that is all the seasons. That is all the episodes I've ranked from season 8 from worst to best. The next ranking we're going to do is season 9. Thank you all for watching this video. Bye, guys. I had to give out some information.
Yeah, sure.